10 secrets you missed in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, the sequel of one of the funniest and most liked animated movies to date. The Puss in Boots franchise is one of the most original and fun animated franchises of this generation, delivering incredible scenes mixed with the funniest characters and funny punchlines that make the movie very enjoyable to watch. But this second movie of Puss in Boots is set to be incredible and outshine the previous one in all of its ways. Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish will immerse us in a world full of amazing adventures that the one and only Puss in Boots will once again absolutely amaze us with. A medieval world that shines from all of its great graphics that make everything look majestic and makes the scenes look more beautiful than ever, while still having the animated touch to it. A funny world with funny characters that will sure make us laugh a lot more than in the first one. Puss in Boots is actually a meme character himself. He can make you laugh without saying a word, just by his goofy personality and actions. This, added to the other funny characters, will sure create an amazing spectacle that will leave us flabbergasted in all senses. A wonderful world with great aesthetics, adventures, and fun that looks absolutely stunning. So it will most probably outshine the previous movie in every single way. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish will tell us the story of Puss in Boots after the events of the first movie, and Shrek forever after. He saves the city from a giant monster, and after being defeated for the first time by this giant, Puss in Boots decides that his life is very risky, and maybe the adventures have taken a toll on him since now he has lost 8 of 9 lives. So he leaves the adventure world and takes off his legendary cape and sets out on a great journey to find the mystical last wish and get back his 9 lives. In the process, he will go through the most iconic and legendary adventures ever. But there are many secrets, guys, that you've missed in the Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Secrets that you probably missed because of how fast, dynamic, and good the movie is. So without further ado, let's get straight into the 10 secrets you missed in Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish. Let's go, guys! In one of the scenes at the beginning of the movie, we see a montage of all the times that Puss in the Boots has lost one of his 9 lives, which basically is the premise of the entire movie. He will have to find the mystical last wish to recover his 9 lives. And we see all of the funny situations that led him to lose one of his 9 lives. And in one of these scenes, we see that he lost one during a poker game with some dogs. He was playing with them, and after winning and getting into an argument with them, they threw themselves at him. This scene right here is a reference and a parody to the famous painter Cassius Marcellus, who painted many paintings, but in particular, his most famous paintings are the ones where he shows dogs playing poker games. Marcus was an American artist and painter who rose to prominence in the 19th century for his dogs playing poker line of paintings. Since then, he has been widely admired for his imaginative and powerful paintings. So the director has wanted to give a little homage to Marcus in this funny movie. As we saw in the previous movie, one of the best parts of the Puss in Boots movie was the super villains. They were very original and they made the movie so fun to watch with the main character. And this movie is no different. As we saw in Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish, the super villains are Goldilocks and the 3 bears. They make the main character go through the funniest experiences throughout the movie, and on top of that, the bears have the funniest personality, looking tough, but as we can see later into the movie, they have the softest and funniest character. They are truly great super villains that add that special touch to the movie. But Goldilocks and the 3 bears are a direct reference to the classic book having the same name as in the Puss in Boots movie. Released in 1837, Goldilocks and the 3 bears was a very influential book in its time. It tells the story of an ill-mannered woman who leaves her house and comes upon a house in a forest where she finds 3 bears, and that's where the story starts. They also made a funny parody referencing this same storyline as we see in the movie. Such a funny reference that made it cooler to watch. The key element of the movie's plot is Puss in Boots' 9 lives, and he will have to find the mystical last wish to get them back. Otherwise, at the pace that he's losing them, he will have to be gone very soon. Throughout the movie, we will see him go through multiple adventures like fighting with Goldilocks and the 3 bears, meeting Kitty Softpaws, and much more to recover his 9 lives. But a very important point and secret that you probably missed is that in the first movie's teaser trailer, we see that in the beginning it says that Puss in Boots has 7 lives and not 6, as they say in the second movie. The reason for this is very simple. During the editing and direction of the first movie, there was a debate among the crew to decide whether or not to give him 7 or 9 lives. The director, the producers, and crew decided to agree upon 9 because it gave him more room to create fun adventures and play with the story a lot more than if he had 7 lives. This is why we see that in the first movie's trailer, we see that he has 7, but then he has 9. The most characteristical trait about Puss in Boots is his cute face, which he always makes if he's in a bad situation to cause his rivals to fall for his cuteness and then strike back when they have their guard down. We first see this in Shrek 2, the most famous and liked Shrek movie of them all. When Shrek and Donkey come upon him in the forest, he makes a cute face to persuade Shrek into joining them in their adventure, which he achieves after this. Puss in Boots makes this face all throughout the Shrek and Puss in Boots movies, but why does he do this? Well, this is a fun parody to the characteristical trait that cats have in real life. Cats instinctively know they're cute by nature and have used it as an advantage throughout their entire existence. This is called the feline wile, and many times they use their cuteness with predators to seem inoffensive and flee when they least expect it. A funny jab to the science behind the cat's cuteness. In the first scene of the movie, during the montage we saw before, where we see all the times he has lost one of his 9 lives, right when we see the dog scene that I talked about before, we see that he loses another one while drinking and falling from the top of a castle. It's a funny scene that shows how goofy and funny Puss in Boots can be. After which, he comes back to life thanks to his 9 lives, but one of the things that you probably miss in the scene are his clothes. If we zoom into his clothes, we can see that he's wearing the classic Irish St. Patrick's Day costume. St. Patrick's Day is a cultural and religious celebration held on March the 17th of every year, where Irish people wear green colors to commemorate the patron saint of Ireland called St. Patrick. During the celebration, they wear the same clothes we see Puss in Boots wearing here, making us see that he was in Ireland when he lost one of his lives in this scene. A funny reference to how much Irish people drink during this day. In one funny scene in the movie, when Puss in Boots starts realizing how fast he's losing his 9 lives and decides to take off his cape and lay off from so many risky adventures, he basically goes into a retirement mode, where he grows his beard, he looks sad, remembering his old tales and legendary challenges in the past lives, until he starts getting ready to go for the mystical last wish to recover all of his lives and get back to his adventurous spirit that he once lost. And in one of the scenes of this funny moment, when Puss in Boots has grown a beard and he's remembering his past tales and telling them to we see the memories being displayed over them. If we zoom into the first memory we see him mounting a horse into the sunset. Well, this is actually the ending of the first movie, where he leaves the scene mounting a horse, heading for his new adventure into the amazing sunset. A beautiful and fun scene that was worth remembering, and that Puss in Boots definitely remembered when he was being nostalgic. In the beginning and throughout the movie, we hear a very fun and characteristic song that you guys have definitely heard before. Right when Puss in Boots is going through the iconic adventures and fighting all sorts of supervillains in this world, he hears this song as well. Well, this is the same song we also hear in Shrek. It's called All Star and it's a very iconic song of this franchise that always makes us think of Shrek when we hear it for the first time. This song was released in 1999 by the artist Smash Mouth, and it was the very first single of their album Astro Lunge. And even though it wasn't expected to be very famous, the song became known as a legendary song and a footprint of the early 2000s. It also helped that it was the main song of Shrek, which made it very popular among young kids of that age. Because of this, the directors wanted to give a little Easter egg for Shrek by putting it in this movie of Puss in Boots as well. At one point in the movie, Puss in Boots decides that he needs to make a change in his situation and become the legendary hero that he once was and stop living in his laurels. So he gets up once and for all and he starts off in his new adventure to find the mystical last wish to gain back his 9 original lives. And during one of his adventures, we see him baking a cookie for the next challenge that's coming for him. And next to him, we see the one and only gingerbread man, or Genji. Genji is the iconic character that we see in the original Shrek movies. We first saw him in Shrek 1 when he was being questioned by Lord Farquaad, and then in the end he becomes one of the best friends of Donkey and Shrek, along with Pinocchio and others. Well, Genji appearing in the Puss in Boots 2 movie could basically hint us that the rumors that DreamWorks is working on Shrek 5 are actually real, and we may be seeing a Shrek 5 very soon. Let's hope that's true, guys. In the scene where Puss in Boots and Kitty Softpaws are getting ready to enter the cabin that they find in the middle of the snowy forest, we see that Perro kicks Puss in Boots and tells him, "Go get him, Tiger," and Puss in Boots and Kitty go into the cabin to know more about the mystical last wish and its whereabouts. Well, you may think this is not something very important, but it is. If we listen carefully at the "Go get him, Tiger," this is the same sentence that we hear Mary Jane tell Peter Parker in the first Spider-Man movie when he's leaving to save the city after hearing a siren in the streets. A funny reference to Spider-Man here. Right when Puss in Boots pushes Perro into the portal during the scene of this movie, when he pushes him, he asks him, "Perro, are you alive?" Well, once again, with no question whatsoever, this is actually a reference to the Smurfs. When Gargamel throws his cat into a portal just as Puss in Boots is doing here, and when he does so, he asks him, "Cat, are you alive?" Basically the same scene and the same sentence with the portal and everything, but instead of saying, "Perro, are you alive?" he says, "Cat, are you alive?" And well, my guys, that's all the dose of DJ there is for today. I really hope you guys liked this video and liked all the secrets in Puss in Boots The Last Wish. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one, my guys. Peace!